Good evening. Welcome to the Squeak Factor. This is your DJ Serena. Tonight I have a special guest on the show, Kevin Martin of the band Candlebox. Kevin, welcome. Thank you so much for being here tonight and also your time. How are you?
That's my pleasure. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Shauna, for getting us together. Yay! Let me get started and cut to the chase. I'm sure it's close to dinner time. I'm just going to ask you a few questions about you and a few questions about the band. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Really quickly, I had a chance to see Candlebox on tour with Hinder at the House of Blues in downtown Chicago in October of 2013. You guys were fucking amazing. I told myself...
Man, that was a fun show.
It was. It really was. We were there until the house closed down that night, and it was just like, I was enamored with the whole entire show. But I told myself, I said, I'm going to interview those guys one day, and here we are today.
Here we are. 2 years later.
That's okay. So, hey, are you primarily a vocalist, or are you versed in any instruments?
Oh yeah, I started out as a drummer. I'm constantly calling myself the reluctant lead singer. I was playing drums. I started when I was about 14, and my buddy Rick, who was doing some studio recordings, asked me if I'd come down and sing on some demos, and I was like, I'm not a singer, I'm a drummer. And he's like, no, I've heard you sing. Come down and sing. And I was like, well, that's not really what I'm looking to do. He goes, look, I just need a singer for these fucking songs. And I was like, okay. So I went down to the studio and sang them, and that became Uncle Duke, which a year later became Candlebox, and 2 years later was signed. So I've been reluctantly lead singing in this band, or being the singer in this band for 20 plus years now. But I play drums, I play guitar, I play bass. I do the majority of my writing on bass guitar. When I was a kid, I played French horn. And amongst other instruments, I've kind of always dabbled in what kind of instruments I can use for my musical creativity. The only instrument that I never learned to play, which I'm constantly kicking my parents over, is the piano.
I've never played the piano, even though I had one when I was younger.
Oh, it's a shame.
It is. I'm completely tone deaf. I can't carry a tune to save my life. Maybe that's why I don't play.
No wonder our show was so good in Chicago.
Oh, that's not fair. I was jamming hard. I really was. I looked at it and I'm like, hey, this is some of the stuff I listened to when I was in high school. That's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, I mean, it's the flannels and the music and I was like, it's Candlebox. Did you take any lessons when you were younger? I just noticed that you mentioned you were kicking your parents for not teaching you the piano.
Well, the only lessons I really took was, when I was playing French horn and flute and stuff in band choir. I never really took lessons for guitar. I've taught myself pretty much everything else, drums and whatnot. But singing, I started when I was in first grade. I started singing in choir, and I stayed in choir all the way up until I was a senior in high school. So it's just, I've always been singing. I always kind of felt like it was, something that I would enjoy doing. And plus everybody needed an elective with girls in the class. And, choir seemed to be one of those things for me. So, so that's really, the I guess the depth of which, I took any kind of lessons or was taught anything. It's always just kind of been a self-taught thing for me when it came to the other instruments.
Okay. And when starting out, did you have any other aspirations, or did you know that you always wanted to be a singer and play music and go into music professionally?
No, I wanted to be a fireman. I remember even when I was in high school, it was something that I was, considering doing. And then when I went to college, I thought maybe I wanted to get into, brokering, stock brokering and stuff like that. And music was just always there for me. I was playing it. I was part of it. It was a part of me. And, it just seemed like the obvious choice when things started to move forward with the music that I was creating with the band guys. So it kind of stuck, and I dropped out of college and, took a job at a shoe store to kind of survive and make a living. And luckily I got signed. So
yeah.
I've had a career now for 20 plus years, and I can't be more grateful or thankful to the fans for, believing in Candlebox way back when.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally understand where you're coming from. Sorry. And when you, 20 plus years ago, way back when you told your parents that you were going to go into music and then Candlebox was formed, were they very supportive of you? Did they attend any shows?
Yeah, both my parents were musicians. My father gave up a music career when he met my mom to get married and have children and raise a family. So it's always been there. My mom was singing the standards and blues and stuff in Chicago, and my dad walked into the I believe it's called the Pump Room in the Ambassador West there in Chicago, and saw her singing and fell in love.
Aw, that's awesome. So your parents are from the Chicago area.
Yeah, my mom was born in Naperville. My father was born in Lake Forest. I was born in Elgin. I still have aunts and uncles and cousins and all sorts of family there. It's kind of nice, second home.
Very cool. Maybe moving more into like about you and the band. Do you do all the songwriting? Is it a group effort?
Well, we collaborate. I always generally come in with the idea of what I'm trying to do, the direction I'm trying to go. I like to make the band is just as responsible for the song as I am. I find that it produces better music. I'm not a songwriting virtuoso. I just have the ideas that I want to work with. I do direct quite a bit when it comes to where everybody's headed, because there's certain things that I look for in the song that obviously is not going to be in their head because it's something that I created, but the majority of it is done collaboratively. I write all the melodies and I write all the lyrics. But yeah, the songwriting is generally a collaboration either with Adam and myself, Sean, Pete, back in the day it was Barty. You and Far Behind were written by Barty and I, so it's always been that kind of focal point to make sure that everybody was some way, shape, or form involved.
And when you say you usually have an idea, what ends up happening first, the music or like putting down the tracks and then adding the music to it, or vice versa?
I'll have a concept of what I'm looking for in the song. I'll have a lyric that I'm trying to use, or an inspiration of sorts that maybe I've read about or an experience that I've had in my life that I want to write a song about, and then we form around that. I want the song to feel as though it's a representation or an extension of the lyric. Mm-hmm. So it kind of makes it easier for everybody to to focus when I say, listen, this song needs to feel like you're on heroin. It needs to feel like you're missing, a parent. It feels like, maybe your brother, was just killed in a car accident or something like that. So I try to put everybody's head in the frame of mind that I'm in so that they understand the emotional element of the song.
Okay. And so the inspiration could be maybe like you're on heroin, and maybe that would be like, a song that would have been possibly Cobain-esque. God rest his soul. I actually just wrote a paper on Cobain for my English class 2 nights ago.
Oh, right on. Yeah. I mean, it could be. It could be. I don't know anything about heroin. It's not something I ever did, but I obviously have a lot of friends who did.
No, that was actually his drug of choice when he met Courtney.
Yeah. So I just, I would just give that as an example, just because, it's not really what the song's about, but it kind of gives you that idea of it needs to feel slow and dirgy and draining and,
kind of dirty, a little bit gritty.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe just a little bit more about you and the band, not just on the songwriting aspect. Is there anything while y'all are out on tour, and I'm not sure when the next time you guys are going to go out on tour is, but I would love to know that as well. What do you guys do just to stay grounded on and off tour?
Stay grounded, geez. A lot of crossword puzzles. I don't know. We stay pretty close in touch with one another. When we're not on the road. And when we are on the road, we try to make sure that we have, band dinners and stuff like that to make sure that there's, that camaraderie. It's very easy to get lost in, the successes of being a rock band. So it's important that everybody kind of feels that, brotherly love sort of thing with one another. And and just kind of, shares in the experiences of the day or whatever it is. If you have a day off, go see a movie together. If you've got a show day, make sure that maybe we all have breakfast together or something, just to kind of, keep ourselves in the mindset that, we are a band, but at the same time we're friends and we enjoy one another's company.
Friends, brothers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned dinners. Are there maybe per se, any silly pranks on each other? Like, have you ever just kind of like short-sheeted someone's bed while you were on tour? Just for the hell of it.
Yeah, we do. We do stupid little things like that. Because we find it funny.
I find it funny
everybody's
too.
got a great sense of humor. Yeah, everybody's got a great sense of humor, so it makes it easy to play those practical jokes or have fun with one another on stage. That's mostly where we have the best kind of show banter. Is the conversations that happen during the show, either with the audience included or just on stage. Adam's really good at coming over and whispering something in my ear while I'm singing, something that, I feel is rather poignant, and he's just letting me know that, something silly happened to him or he's thinking about something funny, just kind of throw me off. So we do that a lot to one another, and it's fun because it keeps you on your toes.
Okay, so, and that's what you guys do together as a band. Now, have you ever, like, per se, when you guys were out on tour with Hinder, did you guys ever, like, maybe do anything to Cody as well as Jared? I think Jared Weeks was on tour with them at that time, filling in, or Joe or Mike or Mark. Did you guys, like, ever prank them?
No, I mean, not so much with with those types of things. End of tour, pranks on tour buses, like, filling the bus with, balloons full of helium, and when you pop them, there's, confetti in there, which they don't know about, or there's, powdered sugar or something. So, those types of things are always like you saved for the, the last day of the tour, just to say, hey, thinking of you guys and thanks for having us out, or, really enjoyed the tour, and this is just something for you to remember us by. That usually happens at the end of the tour.
I'm sorry. You got me on the powdered sugar. That's hilarious.
Well, it's hard to get out of things, so that's why you do it.
And is there a favorite city of yours or the band's, or even city and venue that you guys have played?
Oh, God, there's so many. I mean, House of Blues venues are always amazing. Madison Square Garden in New York. Woodstock 94 was unbelievable. All the venues in Europe that we've ever played. The Viper Room here in LA is fantastic. Paramount Theater in Seattle. I mean, they're all so kind of special. I mean, there's a lot of, shitty clubs that you play that you still have a great time in, and you still have great memories because that comes from the fans. So, it's kind of like, even in like Houma, Louisiana, there's this tiny little venue that we play, that we all love, and we go there and we play it just because we love it. And, it only holds 350 people, and we sell it out in a matter of minutes, and we know it's going to be a good show. And we do that because we love the place. So there's just too many to mention.
That's okay. That's totally okay. I agree with you completely about the House of Blues venues. 90% of it is the environment, and then, the security. I love those guys. They all know me by name.
Oh, nice.
One of our loyal listeners, Jack, he's loyal. He's a loyal listener of my show. He's been around, for the last 5.5 years. He wanted to know if that you, as well as the guys, had listened to the Midnight Oil song on vinyl, and maybe that was the reason why the band was called Candlebox.
Yeah, we were listening to a record called Tin Legs and Tin Minds on a record called Countdown, 10-987-654-321. And there's a line in the song where he's speaking about the Aboriginals. Peter Garrett was a real big inspiration for me when I was a kid. I had seen him live, and he just really overwhelmed me with his stage presence and how much command he took of the audience of the show. So we were looking for a band name. I was like, we're going to find it in some lyrics, and we happened to come across this song where he's speaking about the Aboriginals. He's very, very active in the political community, and in Australia and the rights of the Aboriginals, which, were very much treated like the American Native Indians, with reservations and being moved off their land and whatnot. And he sings this line, boxed in like candles, these beautiful people. And I just really like the imagery of that, where he's speaking of, you can't take this massive spirit and put it in this box and when it's on fire and expect it not to burn it down. And I really thought that was just an amazing way to explain the beauty of a people that have been, oppressed for, however many years and everything taken from them. And that's how we got the name Candlebox.
Very awesome. Thank you so much for taking a moment to explain that.
Yeah, no worries.
Is there a song or one song that y'all like to open up with that the crowds just go crazy for when it comes to Candlebox? Being on stage, maybe headlining, being in the middle band, anything that that the crowd's just going to be like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, obviously we could start with Far Behind, but that'll never happen. Generally, it's something like Don't You or Arrow or Cover Me or something like that, just to, reignite that memory of, when you were in high school or grade school or college and you first heard the band. That's the reason we start with one of those songs. We always end with Far Behind because obviously we want people to stick around for the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't really have a favorite. They're all kind of, how we feeling for the audience tonight? How we feeling about, the show and what we want to play, and it kind of stems from that.
That's very cool, and I can see why you would end with Far Behind. I do. Is there anything? And I'm gonna try and wrap this up because I'm sure it's probably 4 o'clock there, 3 o'clock there.
Well, yeah, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock there. So I should probably try and wrap this up because I'm sure you're probably going to sit down for dinner in a little bit. Is there anything we can't find out about the band on Facebook or the interwebs that you want to tell us about?
No. I mean, no.
All right. Well, hey, Kevin, I do want to thank you so much again for being here tonight. Make sure all of you radio riffers are checking out what Candlebox has been up to or getting up to on Facebook.com, and that's /Candlebox, or on Twitter @Candlebox. And I'm not sure. I looked. I couldn't find it. But is there an Instagram account?
Yeah, it's Candlebox_official.
Candlebox_official. All right. So I will be favoriting that later.
Cool.
Myself. So
yeah, I mean, everything really is on our Facebook. I mean, anything you want to know about the band is there. Even the bio, I think, is pulled directly from Wikipedia. So, yeah, it's all there.
Really? All right. Well, I'm going to have to read that again. No, I'm just kidding. I read that earlier when I put everything together. Well, hey, listen, Kevin, I want to say thank you again for being on the Squeak Factor. Again, make sure all of you radio riffers are checking out what Candlebox has been up to or is going to get up to on Facebook.com /Candlebox, on Twitter @Candlebox, and then Candlebox_official for their Instagram account. Thank you again. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you, Serena.
Absolutely.